recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios, Meanjin, Brisbane.
On 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Zed Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture.
Want to reach out?
Share your hot take?
Or do you just want to share your favourite game?
Find us on socials at Zed Games AU.
Hello, you're listening to Zed Games. My name is Zahra, and with me in the studio tonight is...
Hazel.
And...
Caroline.
Caroline is observing. They might be in control later. But before all that, how are you two feeling tonight?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm happy to be here.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty excited for tonight's episode.
We got lots to talk about.
We've got lots to talk about, but before we can really proceed any further, we have got to get into the week in gaming news by our very own Tobi. So let's hop right into it.
This week in gaming news: disappearing games, Fallout resurgence, gaming biz news, and some bites for good measure. Games getting the Thanos snap. This week saw a couple of games added to the growing list of paid games ripped from digital libraries and slipped from support and server maintenance. PlayStation has chosen to decommission the servers of Little Big Planet 3 following the technological issues which resulted in the servers being shut down in January. The multimedia giant seems to have given up trying to fix the problems and instead has decided to just shut up shop, removing support for the core gameplay loop of creating and sharing levels. In worse news, Ubisoft has created a new category in your digital library called inactive games. This is specifically for the owners of the purchased game The Crew. When opening the game through the launcher, you are now greeted with a message: you no longer have access to this game. Why not check the store to pursue your adventures? Attempts at bypassing said launcher are met with either game key requests or a limited access demo version of the game launching. Ubisoft claims this was necessary due to server infrastructure and licensing constraints. This trend has been tipped to continue with a report published that claims 70% of game developers are concerned with the sustainability of live service titles. This is also compounded with the overwhelming majority of those surveyed working in teams dedicated to said live service games. So what can we do as gamers? The movement to get political is now in full swing, with people calling for the preservation of video games. Personally, you can head to stopkillinggames.com and click the Take Action Here and follow the links, perhaps even signing the parliamentary petition EN6080 calling for the government to enforce our ownership of games like I have.
Young people from all over the globe are joining up to fight for the future.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
They're doing their part. Are you?
Links for these will be posted to both our website, zedgamesau.net, and our socials at zedgamesau. Fallout resurgence. In more positive news, in the wake of the well-received adaptation of the Fallout game series by Amazon Prime, which, if you didn't know, is all canon to the Fallout lore, according to Todd, It Just Works, Howard, the series has incited gamers to return to the base games, with sales of Fallout 4, earlier titles, and even the critically panned Fallout 76 jumping up the charts, with player counts hitting new peaks or even breaking old records. And for all those living out their post-apocalyptic dream for the first time, or returning to the series, the games have either received or are scheduled to receive next-gen updates as this broadcast goes live, April the 25th, and probably with all the trademark issues, glitches, or problems we have come to expect from Bethesda. And for the series fans, you'll be happy to know that Amazon has confirmed a second season is on the way.
We have conflict, and we have war. And war, well, war never changes.
Game industry biz news. This week, video game company Embracer Group announced that they would be dissolving the company and splitting their assets into 3 separate companies. The first, Asmodee Group, to focus on the company's tabletop assets, the temporarily named Coffee Stain and Friends to take over the indie to AA game operations, and the, again, temporarily named Middle-earth Enterprises and Friends to take over the high-end AAA assets like Tomb Raider and the Lord of the Rings franchises. The CEO of Embracer Group, Lars Wingsfors, is bucking the trend trend of blaming the volatility of the industry and is instead taking responsibility, saying, "As a leader and an owner, sometimes you need to take the blame and you need to be humble about if you've made mistakes and if you could have done something differently. I'm sure I deserve a lot of criticism, but I don't think my team or companies deserve all the criticism." Atari is also bucking the trend with the relaunch of Infogrames as a publishing label, with the purpose of publishing and acquiring IP outside of the Atari brand, and has already purchased the game Totally Reliable Delivery Services from TinyBuild. And Playdate, that niche console you've heard about from some of our announcers. The maker Panic has shared that of the 70,000 shipped, over half of the owners have made purchases on the storefront. Because of this support, Panic has revealed that developers of the 181 games in the storefront have received a sizable payout of over $500,000 US.
Phenomenal cosmic powers!
And now, have we got some time for some quick bites? Team Fortress 2 has finally gotten 64-bit support, now boasting up to 20% more frames per second. No update on the bot issues though, but the game has only been out for a meager 17 years or so. And there's a new operating system on the horizon, with Meta announcing its new Meta Horizon OS for the VR ecosystem in partnership with Asus, Lenovo, and Xbox.
Today I'd like to help you understand the power of synergy. And to do that, I've brought along with me some popsicle sticks.
And now for some upcoming games. On April 25th, the saga continues with Square Enix's Saga Emerald Beyond coming to PC, PlayStation and Switch, while Bandai Namco brings the manga Sandland to life in, wait for it, Sandland, all caps, coming to PC, PlayStation and the Xbox Series S and X. Friday, April 26, brings us Manor Lords, a medieval strategy where you can sit on your high horse, coming to PC, or if you feel like turning into a spandex-clad Beyblade with a sword and flashing lights, join the masses with Stellar Blade, coming to the PlayStation 5. Or go for a different kind of spin in the tennis sim with some big names in Topspin 2K25, coming to PC and next-gen consoles. And to round out the month, after hitting 40 million players, Sea of Thieves is finally coming to the PlayStation 5 Tuesday, April 30. And that's all this week in gaming news.
Hi, I'm Liz Witt, the artist for this year's April Atonement.
Please, won't you subscribe to the station?
Welcome to April Atonement on 4ZZZ. If you've never subscribed before, now is the perfect time to take that next step and get fully amongst the 4ZZZ vibe. Head to 4zzz.org.au and choose the subtype that suits you. Full, concession, passionate, super, artist or band, business or organisation, and even pet. There are heaps of everyday perks, like getting discounts at dozens of businesses, making song requests, cheaper entry to Zed events, and you could even win a prize. Plus, you can rest easy knowing you're supporting community radio and keeping us on air. That's pretty chill. Subscribe today.
My name is Zahra, this is Zed Games, and with me in the studio tonight is...
Hazel.
And...
Caroline.
And we are so excited to talk about Stardew Valley, specifically the Stardew Valley Festival of Seasons concert that we got to see last week. At the time of me speaking, there's still one more show left in Australia, in Sydney, on the 27th, and I've got to say, I think they are in for a stunning treat.
Yes.
Yeah. Just real quick, if you're not familiar with Stardew Valley, it is perhaps the farming sim. It's all beautiful 2D sprites, very detailed, with where your time is structured around the passing of the seasons. And the concert, Festival of Seasons, reflected that, displaying a medley of the songs that feature in each season. Summer,
which was just like
spring.
a small amount of the
It's a very
music.
small amount.
Yeah.
Caroline is an expert at how many songs are in Stardew Valley. You did recently get...
Oh, I got the vinyl, yeah. The vinyl soundtrack with all the seasons.
All the seasons,
and
plus
the
extras.
and the expansion, the 1.4 and 1.5 update music.
Do you want to just talk about how beautiful those vinyls are?
Oh, they're beautiful. Each one is a different color corresponding to the season. Spring is pink, summer is green, fall is orange, and winter is this
like
sort of grey
grey.
blue. And then the update one is a lovely yellow. They've
Yeah.
all got speckles through it. There's beautiful artwork with all the crops from each season, and seasonal music, all the different songs. There's various mine music. There's the villagers' themes, and they are on the disc that corresponds to their birthday in game.
Oh, beautiful!
Yeah.
Aww.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could go on and on.
Yeah.
This is not
stop me.
sponsored. Caroline just loves the soundtrack this much.
Yeah.
I love the game so much.
It's quite notable that Stardew Valley was developed by a single person that includes all the art, the story, the programming,
The music. He made all the
especially.
music.
We owe all this to Concerned Ape. I forget his human name, I guess,
Yeah.
but literally on the website it says that the festival season's concert was curated by Concerned Ape. So this was a selection. All right, so let's just start at the start. Where are we?
Brisbane City Hall Auditorium.
Yep, and isn't it just, it's such a beautiful building.
It's a Renaissance style entertaining room with this like artwork on the walls. It's got this incredible giant copper dome that you sit under.
Yeah.
All right,
the
Miss
acoustics
Architecture.
are amazing, and it's a great place to go and watch an orchestra perform.
Yeah.
It is.
It was more of a concert band than a full orchestra. Not to downplay how beautiful the performance was. It was hosted and conducted by Sarah Grace Williams and performed by the
Sydney Metropolitan Orchestra.
Thank you.
Yes.
And when we all lined in and we found our seats and, the lights went down and all the chatter just faded away. And we got the first beautiful notes. Did you cry?
I cried a little, yeah.
Yeah, I was in tears.
I cried a little.
I teared up and it was just like, oh no, why am I doing this? Music is touching me.
It started
Touching my heart.
with the overture, of course.
Spring overture, specifically.
Spring overture, thank you.
It was the one we just heard.
Yeah, the main theme of the thing, and then they introduced the spring.
As an aside, I would have appreciated like a program that was a little bit more descriptive.
Oh,
Perhaps
yeah.
like what songs were in each medley. But that's just a little
well,
thing.
you could buy the tour program, which had all the songs that were in.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah,
get
did
to
that.
that.
Yeah.
But Sarah Grace Williams led us through each of the seasons, introducing each of the seasons and giving us a little hint as to what would be in it. And each season would also introduce kind of like a thing that is associated with that season, I guess. We had the Dance of the Moonlight Jellies. We also had Pierre's the pub theme.
Oh,
Yes.
that's not Pierre's.
Oh, sorry, no, not
That's
Pierre's.
Gus.
Gus, thank you. Thank
The
you.
Stardrop Saloon.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
There was some trash talking of Pierre at one
Yes,
point.
yes, there was trash talking of Pierre, which we really did appreciate.
Yes.
Pierre did not steal my crops, but it did feel like he did. But that's just personal.
We spit upon his name.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite season, Caroline?
Yes, my favorite season, I think, for summer with the little.
Oh yeah, the maracas.
Yeah.
the
I
maracas
think I
were
gotta
good.
say the same.
Mm.
Summer was so fun and upbeat,
Yeah.
and I think that was the one that included the saloon theme.
We also had
Probably.
like the
Yes.
mining, a bit of the mining.
I do love the mining ones
do
because
like the mines.
mining is my favorite thing in Stardew Valley.
Yeah,
I yearn for the mines.
The
You do
children
yearn
yearn
for
for
the
the mines.
Yes.
And we also had a small medley of some of the villager
The
themes,
romance
the romanceable
ones. There was 3
which is
3 out of
criminally
12
small amount
possible ones.
Yes,
Look, there's a
and
lot of music in the game, and we
It was-
only had a couple hours.
we
Listen.
really only had a couple hours.
None of my favorite ones were in there.
I'm sorry.
They did what? Abigail, Penny, and
Ooh.
Haley?
It's not
I think
about
it was
your
Haley,
faves.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. As an aside, my TikTok is now just full of Haley. I gotta go find out what that's about, I think. Because, anyway.
The
Would you two
the
like
conductor
to,
kept like sprinkling in jokes
Yeah.
throughout the whole performance. It was great. Like
Did
the
the
Pierre thing.
Do you think the conductor plays Stardew Valley? Or do you think
I,
that she just had no idea what she was
I
reading
sure
from
hope
the
that
script?
she wasn't just reading a script and that
Mhm.
she has actually played it, because it was just like way too friendly if she hasn't actually played it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like you would play it in preparation for the job, you know?
I feel like I
would, yeah.
really feel like each of these musicians, I can't get over because my favorite was the French one. He was so
The French horn got crazy on it.
Yeah, just I love brass instruments. I'm a little bit biased, but it was just
The cellist also amazing.
I liked percussion guy in the back.
Percussion guy.
I liked watching him switching his stations frantically between his bits and then reshuffling his papers and then just doing the although least favorite just because I was blinded by him quite often, guitar and banjo guy. It was very reflective.
Guitar and banjo guy is the same person.
Yes.
Most of the musicians were playing multiple instruments throughout the performance, which is, my goodness, talent.
It was a small band.
Yeah, and they sure just put 200% into it.
And there was also 200% lights in my eyes reflecting.
Yes. We did have a bit of like a light show with the projectors, sort of putting corresponding patterns to the seasons.
The light show was awesome.
Like spring was this gorgeous sort of green and pink representing, you know, the lushness of the valley, transitioning into summer with a lovely warm golden color.
The performers, the conductor, the front of house all did an amazing job.
However,
the venue management was full of some interesting choices.
Yeah.
For instance, encouraging the crowd outside, which was probably close to 1,000 people.
Not 1,000. No.
It was pretty packed. Anyway, it was a full auditorium.
Yeah.
To line up in a straight line, crossing across King George Square, getting in the way of absolutely everybody.
On a Friday night.
And then this weird little arrangement with the merch stall and the ticketing, and it was just messy and confusing for everybody trying to attend.
Tickets weren't being scanned. Guidance to seating was a little haphazard. It was a little rough getting in, and it did result in having to start later than anticipated.
They were 15 minutes late in starting. Yeah,
which
it felt like they expected a much lower turnout, which is very odd for a ticketed event.
Yeah, it was like fully sold out. But I do just want to give a shout out to the cosplayers we saw.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. If anyone listening went to the
If the Jojo Mart employees are out there, we love you.
We love you.
Hey there. Welcome to 4ZZZ. You've tuned in just in time. You're listening to our annual month-long subscriber drive, April Atonement. We're taking the moment to celebrate keeping the station alive and to ask all our listeners, hey, do you want to keep us on air a little longer? Or a lot longer? Go ahead and subscribe this April Atonement and you'll go into the draw to win one of our awesome prizes. Plus, you'll get a hefty dose of warm inner glow. So come chill with us. Head to 4zzz.org.au now.
You're Hazel. I'm Zahra. This is
Hazel.
Caroline.
What up?
You're listening to Zed Games, and Hazel, you asked us a very interesting question earlier.
So before the show, I was thinking about Final Fantasy VII, because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out a couple months ago now.
Yep, it's on the mind.
And it's the second part in this project that Square Enix is embarking on of remaking the original Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation, but massively expanding the scope of it, adding tons of content, reworking tons of systems, reworking tons of story moments. Everything looks better, obviously, because it's not a game for the PS1 anymore. And I was thinking, what game would I give that treatment to? What game from like my childhood or, you know, from the back catalog really deserves to be remade with like unlimited budget? And I took note of your answers because I asked this of you. And Zahra, you said that you wanted an oat matcha latte with an almond. Sorry, that's our breakfast order. You said Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes, I did.
Banjo-Kazooie. Why do you think that Banjo-Kazooie deserves a massive remake and remaster and expansion?
Okay, I think Banjo-Kazooie has a lot of potential. Already, like, just the base game for the Nintendo 64, it's amazing. It's pushing boundaries. It's a funny, quite a scary story of this big brother trying to save his little sister. And the big brother's like, and he's got his bird wife?
Yeah, I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's never confirmed nor denied.
Never confirmed nor denied. And like,
But maybe you could confirm or deny it in this remake.
yeah, and I think like the story, it's not exactly Shakespeare, but it does, I feel like it's got a lot of potential for some turns, for some unexpected turns. I think there could be some branches that would be a little different to the original game.
They make Griselda even hotter.
Yes, they make her, wow. They're like, whoa, boing.
All right.
But they also make her actually so scary.
So scary.
Like,
Okay,
because she terrified me as a kid. What I want is to be able to sort of re-experience Banjo-Kazooie for the first time as I am now.
Oh, but with the mind, with what your child brain was imagining it was like.
Yes.
Because your child brain was like, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm going on this incredible adventure.
Yeah.
This loading screen is taking 2 minutes, which...
It was crazy back then.
This loading screen is taking 2 minutes, which gives me just enough time to come up with imaginary lore for the characters in my head because I'm a child.
Yes, of
and
course.
my imagination is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a fantastic thing. But it's also like, everyone has a giant slide from when they were a kid, right? Like the giant slide that was
and then
so
you go
tall.
back and it's like not even head height.
No, yeah, I want that slide to grow with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want Banjo-Kazooie to grow with you?
Yes. I don't want it to be like
You
edgy or whatever. I don't want some kind of like...
I was about to say that.
I don't want some kind of like Shadow the Hedgehog treatment, okay? He's a big
Banjo's
brother.
got a gun.
No, you know that
he does.
Kazooie would have a gun.
Kazooie would
the
have
gun.
a gun.
Kazooie is
Okay.
the gun.
Caroline.
Oh my gosh.
Your answer was Jak and Daxter.
Correct.
Why?
Because there were so many constraints on that story because of the technology back then, back on the PlayStation 2 era. Because I read so much about Jak and Daxter. I watched all the supplemental stuff by Naughty Dog.
Like all the commentary
Yes.
scenes and everything?
Yes.
Oh, I love
And
those.
you were like reading the manual and everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of talk of, they just had to smush stuff down to fit on the disc.
Yeah.
Because this is back in the day when everything was on the disc. There's no day one patches. There's no internet connectivity. You can't download stuff.
Your console doesn't have a terabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to scrimp and save to get every last bit
So you
onto
want
that disc.
you want the creator's original vision.
Yes.
You want what the creators wish
want-
they could have done.
Yes. That's what I just want it. The story that could have been if they could have just...
If they could have
I
put
don't know.
everything in,
Yeah.
unlimited budget.
Yes.
Okay.
If they
budget,
didn't have
unlimited
to have
resources,
like
unlimited
Kira,
time.
if they didn't have to have Kira in the final cutscene just standing in the back not talking because they ran out of resources.
Yeah, like... Oh man, I forgot that things like that would happen.
My answer was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Oh.
Would you have it be a
Which-
functional game?
Wow.
Oh
Yes,
my
I would.
goodness.
I would. Now there is actually a sequel for the game coming out, but I don't want a sequel. I want the original with all of the beautiful updates and quality of life features and everything of the new game. I want it to play like a new game. I just think it deserves it. I think Vampire the Masquerade is a tabletop game first, a tabletop RPG. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is based on that. And I want to be able to do all the stuff that I can do in like a Baldur's Gate 3, but in the Vampire the Masquerade setting.
Oh, do you think that Larian Studios should remake Vampire the Masquerade?
Look,
as
I'm
the next...
not saying no. I'm not saying no.
I don't hate that idea. In fact, I find it very intriguing.
I
If
just
they
want,
need
I
a
want
project.
like way more scope. I want beautiful assets. I want engaging vampire gameplay where I can leap on people from above and drink their blood.
Juice box.
Yeah, so
I want that for
I
you.
want, like, that was the best that we could do to adapt a tabletop game back then. I want the best we can do to adapt a tabletop game now.
Oh, maybe
That
Larian
is, I think
Studios
we
is
have
the best.
3 different
For that.
theses here
Yeah.
of like why you would want to do this. You want your childhood games to grow up with you. You want the creator's original vision not limited by the consoles of the time. And I want this universal magical experience of tabletop gaming to be brought to the computer in a modern way.
I love that. That's so beautiful.
You're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
You're listening to Zed Games on 4ZZZ.
Oi mate, you're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
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 Got a bit carried away.
You're listening to 4ZZZ. I'm Caroline. With me is Hazel and Zahra, and I have the seat.
Yeah, you're
It's
in the hot
mine now. I've
You're in
stolen
charge.
it.
But not for much longer. Not for much longer.
Legally, I am not allowed to sit here for longer than like 3 seconds, so I've got to say goodnight.
Yeah. Oh, this happens every time.
Yeah, every time I sit in the chair and the show ends.
Yes.
But there's some...
That's actually why the show ends, is Caroline sits in the chair.
Yep. Yeah. My butt triggers the end of the show.
It's true.
But thank you for listening, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games.
If you'd like to listen to more, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app
Or find us on socials at ZED Games AU.
See you next time.